Chapter 6 Skill Acquisition. 30 days have passed since I ate Veldora. What am I up to these days? Aren't you an idiot? Just think for a moment. I've become a slime. What do you think would happen if I were attacked? And hey, just try running like this. So I've been thinking about how to fight. At the same time, I'm munching on some grass and strangely glowing rocks. You know, the ones found at the magic abundant place Veldora mentioned. The grass I've collected there is mostly the hypocrite kind. I expected with this, my stock of restorative medicine has increased. And the glowing rocks are apparently called demon ore. Harder than steel, yet sufficiently flexible. They are high-grade material. I had hoped it was some super rare metal, but well, it's not like I know whether Orichalcum, Hihirokane, or other legendary or even exist in this world. TL notes. These are names of ores of legend in our world. Refer to Google for more info. Maybe it's plenty rare. Maybe I'm just being too greedy. That's what I was thinking while munching on some delicious or not weeds and stones. Since I can spit out water, can't I use it as a water cannon type of thing? Yeah, you don't have to say it. You think I'm going to fail, don't you? Wasn't I ridiculed enough? I mean, at times of need, I can do what needs to be done. Even my report card read, if he tries, he can do it. And so I can do this. With that thought, I quickly hurried to the lake. As I had imagined while enshrouded in darkness, the underground lake is pretty damn big. But surpassing my imagination, the lake had a mysterious and tranquil atmosphere. Lacking my presence of life, it was completely serene. Although the magical energy permeates the water, I dare say that no living thing inhabits it. An example of uncorrupted nature. What a beautiful sight. That being that, because I didn't practice last time, I still suck at shooting water with full strength. When the mouth is this large, the jet propulsion strength is far too high. This time, while imagining water pistol, I tried releasing just a bit, as if filling my mouth with water and spitting just little out. But no water is coming out. Is it too small now? After increasing it just a bit, it did come out, and with good force. I tried soaking the nearby boulder. Alright, good. Next, let's widen the opening for combat use. That. With the boulder as my target, I gently began practicing while increasing output. Okay, I kind of got the hang of this, but although if this hits someone, it will hurt, I certainly can't call this a finisher. How should I? While worrying over this question, I entered the lake. It's utmost like a bath to relax when tired. No, I'm not just playing in the water. I observed my body floating and sinking with magic perception, just like a jellyfish. If I were to make my face oscillate, could I create a water current? After I reached out to the magic energy in my face, I tried making it oscillate. With a pune, I felt small ripples being formed, and I began moving through the water. A great success. Bemused, I played around in the water. What a nice change of pace. Skill. Water current control has been acquired. For a second, I thought it was great sage, but seems to be the voice of the world. To have gained the skill while playing, in the end I was able to control depth, direction, and speed, and if I have to, I can just accelerate with hydraulic propulsion. If you consider the fact that I don't need to breathe, it might actually be pretty easy to fight in the water, to say nothing of running away. Is what I thought as I got out of the lake. The break's over. The means of attacking is the problem. And through having taken this break, I got an idea. I wanted to try. I needed to increase the compression of water in the water gun. This time, I imagined loading a bit of water into a cylinder and shooting it out. By calibrating the aperture and the pressure, I could calibrate the power of the shot, the same principle as the water current control. Issue! Flying out sharply, the water hit the targeted boulder. It left a small mark. Success, right? As to not forget that feeling, I decided to continue practicing, while regulating the aperture and pressure, of course. Then I tried to imagine the water rotating, and after that, and rather than the size of the opening, I tried to tame the shape of the water. Yes, the idea was cutting water. Bishun, the water blade cut the boulder. Honestly, even I was surprised at its power. A week's worth of practice, had finally bore fruit. Skill. Water blade has been acquired. The skills hydraulic propulsion, water current control, and water blade have evolved into extra skill, water manipulation. What do you know? It really bore fruit. There's a big difference in ability and strength between extra skills and normal ones. Thus, I found a way to fight, and with this I am ready to set out on a journey. At last, since I found myself reincarnated by this underground lake, 120 days have passed. Finally, the journey away from home begins. I am uneasy, though that isn't something I'll mention. Since I have no vocal cords, I tried to see if I could reproduce them with my body, but I have been so far unsuccessful. I've thought about staying here to practice, but I just can't imagine it right. Guess I'll just have to depend on transmitting my thoughts via telepathy. Worst case scenario, I'll be at the mercy of my opponents, so until I learn to talk life will be pretty inconvenient. Not that I can do anything about it. No matter how many hours I spend here, nothing will change. But right now, I really want to see the outside world and see if I can find any fellow world travelers. And learning magic will be fun. With that thought, I really should set out on this journey. Like they say, no time like the present. No reaction from Veldora either. He seems to have vanished, but I know that much is not true. You made a promise after all. That when we next meet, I would have prepared a lot of funny and strange things to tell him about, and thus from a familiar white room, I walked the one road to the surface, a yet unseen world, a world of possibilities. I longed to join it all. Status, Rimero Tempest, Vicious Slime, Divine Protection, the Storm Crest, Titles: none. Magic: none. Techniques: unique skill grade stage. Unique skill predator. Slime. Specific skills: dissolve, absorb, regenerate. Extra skill: water manipulation. Extra skill: magic perception. Resistances: thermal fluctuation. Resistance AX. Physical attack resistance, pain resistance, electricity resistance, paralysis resistance. At the bottom of a deep, deep heart of darkness, where no one could visit amidst despair, Pildora spends another day reminiscing in solitude. Calamity class, Storm Dragon Pildora, special S class monster. Both monsters and adventurers are ranked A to F, all in those six categories. Those specially strong have A plus attached, those weak have A minus. Thus, this was a guidance from the world traveler, free guild head, Grandmaster Kagura Sakayuki. He established this ranking system. Up until then, it was novice, beginner, intermediate, advanced, a four-step system that was easy to understand. By the way, advanced is C rank, and above, intermediate is D rank. Beginner is E rank, and novice is F rank. Thus, the number of deaths due to the fighting stronger than expected monsters greatly decreased. Those of the same rank would be a match in a one-on-one, thus fighting in a party became safer. Surpassing A rank is the specially designated Demon King level S rank, and above even this stands the monster with the strength of a natural disaster, special S rank. Deviating from the standard ranking system and an abnormal existence, at the present, an A-class monster is capable of jeopardizing the existence of a country, a strength capable of inducing despair, and in the first place, what surrounds Vildora is of no concern to him. Yet again, today he thinks that life is tedious. It had been 300 years since he lost to the hero. He remembered that fight many times, many times. He was bitter, but strangely held no grudge. Fighting at a whim, living at a whim, those who would cross his path were few in number. For him, it was not the first defeat, but to have lost one-on-one with the same handicaps, that was a first. Pale skin, small crimson lips, long jet black hair, not too tall, a petite and thin physique. Though her face was covered in a mask, her contours revealed her femininity. A beautiful girl. Since his eyes did not see, he could not pick at her emotions. Is that why, without fear or hatred, she merely dispassionately swung the sword? How regretful, if he had broken out of this prison. He sometimes thinks about that. Would he complete his revenge against her, although he did not hate her? If he had the chance, he would want to fight again. Those were his honest feelings, but that should not be a fight against a machine, but one where they waged their identities to make that girl, the hero, recognize him and go all out. That had become Vildora's one wish. Human lifespan is short. That his wish will never come true. That his wish will never come true. Vildora knew all too well, but still, his thoughts kept looping around the same ideas. How many years had passed? One day, Goro Zudon, a light blue body had drowned into his. Around here, due to the magical energy he released, no normal life could be sustained. Moreover, touching a lump of magical energy that Vildora would be difficult even for a high-class monster. Amused, Vildora observed that being, and that led to their encounter. Before he knew it, to he who had abandoned his will to live, that bizarre existence became his only hope. That meeting had to have had some purpose. Vildora had that premonition, one that he had not had until now. Can you hear me, little one? Holding on to that belief, Vildora called out. Dot. Author's notes. For now, Vildora's story ends here. Little by little, the name might come out. Translator's corner. Okay. End of chapter 6. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. First battle. Let's skip that. A path leading out from the underground lake. It was a single tunnel with a boyo. I ascend the path. Moving around is actually more pleasant than you'd expect. Even places that light fails to reach are perfectly visible to magic perception. I would move around slowly, checking every step when I was blind, and slimes aren't that fast to begin with. Now, I normally move at a walking pace, but can also run, nor do I get tired. But since I don't have any reason to hurry, I move at a moderate pace. I swear this is not the result of my trauma from the first time. I ran and fell into the lake. A short while after, a giant gate had appeared before my eyes, a human-made structure inside the cave. Nothing that's strange about it, but that's because this development is common in RPGs. It's normal to have a door in front of the boss room. So how should I get it open? Should I cut it with the water blade? When I thought that, gee, with a creaking noise, the door is opening. A little flustered, I hid by the edge of the path and observed the situation. It finally opened. Lock fell apart and the doors rusted. Hey, that's only to be expected. Don't they say that no one entered here in 300 years? Not on record at least, but more importantly, are we really going to be fine? We won't be attacked suddenly, right? Gahaha, don't worry. I might have been unrivaled 300 years ago, but times have changed. I mean, ain't he just a big lizard? I've subjugated basilisks by myself. Leave it to me. About that, I've wondered for a while, but that's a lie, isn't it? Basilisks are ranked B class, right? Solo subjugation would be impossible for Cabal-san, wouldn't it? Fool, I am a B rank myself. They are just big lizards, no trouble at all. Okay, I got it. So, would you please not let your guard down? Well, if it comes down to it, I'll just escape using forced withdrawal. Guys, I get the extent of your friendship, so could you please be quiet? You'll blow my camouflage skill. Somehow, a boisterous trio had entered. I wonder why. Actually, why do I understand their words? Solution. In case where intentions are vocalized, magic perceptions converts them to appropriate words and transmits them to the brain. I see. I can talk to them, but at least I can understand them. Thank goodness I had always been bad with English. I think that if you live in Japan, there should be no need to study foreign languages. Those who plan to go abroad can struggle by themselves. But that excuse won't work here. I'll probably have to learn eventually. Well, that matter can rest for now. What should I do? This dilemma is worse than the previous one. How to open the door? I don't know what they came to do, but they seem like adventurers. Did they come searching for treasures and stuff? They are the first humans I meet in this world. Sort of what want to go and greet them. But if a mute monster slime, aka I, were to go out there, I'd be killed without questions. Let's wait for now. Meeting humans will have to wait until I can talk. For now, I observed this situation in hiding. After the skinny man had done something, the appearance of the three has dimmer, but I can still see them. Did he call this camouflage? Probably a type of skill. Is he just trying to peek? What an outrageous guy. Does he even know why they came here? Probably should get to know him later. When the three had finally left, I started moving again. Nothing to worry about. Not like I won't meet people anymore. I'll move while checking every step. As people have always said, haste makes waste. Leaving these matters for later, I quickly went through the gate in case the three had returned. A little while passed. The gate's the path diverged and became rather complex. I wonder which way leads to the surface. Though even if I thought about it, there's no way for me to know. I chose a path and went down it. Chiro, chirori. Our eyes met. Just a bit above the ground, in front of my eyes, there was a giant serpent. Like the past world snakes, you could consider it cute. It was harder, covered in scales and pitch black in color. Like a frog in front of snake. Nope, I am a slime, not a frog. Let's pretend I'm air. It would be best, though, if it doesn't notice me. Well, let's just try to slither away. Kisha, I was threatened. No good, I won't let you go, or so it would probably say if I could hear it. A fight, huh? I have a secret skill that I gained from a week's long practice, but even so, you've got to be resolved to die if you want to fight this beast. To summarize, I'm pretty darn scared. Don't panic. If I think hard enough, I can manage something far scarier. Yes, Vildora, let's compare it to the dragon. Oh, doesn't seem that scary now. Can't I do this? After calming myself, I began quietly observing the serpent. The snake seems to have let its guard down, thinking I was so afraid that I couldn't move. Probably planning on how it will cook me. Yeah, well then let's not hold back either. Bishin. Without hesitation, I fired a water blade at the serpent's neck. Zuban. Hyun. Dusu. Guru. Jun. It was but a moment. I couldn't believe my eyes. Without even a hint of resistance, the water blade beheaded the serpent. I could only gulp up until a second ago. There was an ominous sneak right there. This is even more powerful than I had thought. Had I been forced to use it on the adventurers, it would end gory. Good thing my first enemy was a monster. Oh, and by the way, my stomach is currently occupied at 30%. Vildora 15%, water 10%, medicine and other crap 2%, metals and resources 3%. Water bullet uses less than a cup of water, and I can regulate the size with the intention of increasing it, of course. Thus, even if I fire thousands of these, I won't have to worry about the amount left. This just might be better than magic. If monsters come out, let's meet them with a water blade. Now, about the snake, if I eat and analyze it, would I steal its powers? Well, let's try it. The result? Inherent skill, heat detection, the ability to see nearby heat sources. Furthermore, camouflage skills are nullified. Inherent skill, noxious mist breath, the ability to release a powerful toxic corrosive breath, released at 120 degrees for a distance of 7 meters. TL no, 22 feet. Along with these two skills, I could also mimic the snake. The poison's main effect seems to be corrosive damage. Damage to both equipment and flesh would be pretty effective against normal adventurers, right? Although with this world's magic, it just might be an easy win. And so I spent some time analyzing the snake skills. Best to increase my hand while I can. Things I've confirmed. 1. I've gained the ability to transform into the snake. 2. I can use the acquired skills even without transforming, but their strength decreases. Those two things, if I had to explain them. 1. I can stock up on the bodies of monsters I ate and analyzed. My body had repaired the section I previously damaged, but it kind of has the feel of its stitches made with cells. 2. Inherent skills are skills specific to that monster race, similar to my dissolve, absorb, and regenerate. Regarding the skill, if I am not transformed into the appropriate monster, I cannot use it with 100% effectiveness. However, there are also skills like heat detection, which I can make completely my own. To summarize, it's like this. I totally dig Predator. It's another skill which is super useful. 3 days have passed since I fought the snake. I'm still inside the cavern. I don't feel cold, but it's probably below freezing in here. Sunlight doesn't reach here at all, and so I kept worrying over one fear. I know. There's no way it's true. But no matter what, I just couldn't get out of my head. Yeah, what if I am lost? No, there's no way. I mean, right? Who's heard of something getting lost in the beginner's cave? Isn't this supposed to be the easiest part? Besides, even those 3 adventurers got this far without being lost. I should be fine. It's probably just a long path. But it's probably a good thing I was reborn as a smile. Had I come here as a normal world traveler, I'd definitely collapse from hunger by now. Who would have thought that I'd be thankful for being a slime? However, not knowing the way is troubling. Isn't there a map of this place or something? Solution. Should I display the current location? Yes or no? Replay the current narration. Just couldn't help making a pun. But seriously, what the hell? Let me know sooner if I have such a useful ability. Absolutely, yes. Curse you, auto-mapping. I also had At the time when I thought that, back in old games, you'd sit down with a pencil and a piece of paper and record every step to get to the goal. It was fun to plan every step. However, many people began relying on the game guides, and eventually mapping became a standard game feature. No more pressure of the hunt. Moreover, had you gotten used to do that feature once, you can never go back again. Well, it's also true that without this feature, you'd be stuck in most recent games. Anyways, let's put this useful skill to use. I look at the map displayed in my head. This has got to be some mistake. I've been walking in circles. For me, who has compiled game guides before, to have been lost, impossible. Definitely impossible. According to the map, I've entered previously and explored regions, so I've spent 3 days looking at the world no one has seen before. To have mislead me, the dungeon is a worthy opponent. Let's pointlessly praise the dungeon, and don't even begin to think that I have no sense of direction. It's the entrance. Is the entrance close by? There's a various moss and weed growing around there. Here, the light reaches from somewhere, bathing the grass in light and color. So it must be the day. So it must be day. I fought many battles to come this far. A centipede monster, evil centipede rank B+, big black spider rank B, vampire bat, giant bat rank C+, carapace lizard, Amosaurus rank B-. Those are the 4 species I encountered. There was that one serpent, but I haven't seen another. They were all powerful foes, defeated with one water blade. Well, the bat evaded it a few times, and the shooting angle was bad for the centipede. Can't relax just yet. For example, the centipede erased its presence and attacked from behind. Luckily, that kind of attack wouldn't work on someone with magic perception and heat detection, so I shot out a few water blades from my back. The big spider was pretty dangerous. In the first place, I'm no good with spiders. It's a psychological thing. Just the sight of one makes me want to cower. But maybe due to my heart becoming stronger through reincarnation, I somehow managed to fight without running away. My bad, but I'm going full force with that puff. Got it up with 5 water blades. It wasn't an opponent I wanted to look at after all. Of course, I ate them all. It's survival of the fittest in this world. If you lose, you get eaten. And well, I did hesitate to eat the centipede and the spider, but I did to my best. But if a cockroach monster exists, I'll absolutely run away without eating it. There's these wonderful words in this world. He who fights and runs away will live to see another day. Here's the skills I got as a result. The centipede monster, paralysis breath, big spider, sticky thread, steel thread, vampire bat, vampirism, ultrasound waves, carapace lizard, body armor. And so, having gotten my hands on new powers, I successfully left the cave. For the first time since being reborn, I was bathed in the light of the sun. Okay, end of chapter 7. Chapter 8, the power in my hands. Perot. Okay, the power in my hands. It's been a while since I last walked under the sun. Not like I'm a vampire who'd melt or get hurt under the sun, though. Presently using my monster instincts, I can sense such perilous conduct. However, I'll often do it, even if I know it's dangerous. Nothing to laugh about. Really have to better my self-awareness. The cave seems to be in the middle of some forest. The entrance lay at the base of what you could call a small mountain or a big hill. Sticking out from among tall trees, the hill can be seen from afar. Regardless of description, it's the only place from which you can see the sun. The forest is dim in comparison. Has that magic circle feel to it? A wise man keeps away from danger, as they say. And so I quickly left that place behind. Since the moment I left the cave, some time had passed. The sun has begun to dip towards the horizon. Seems like I left the cave exactly at noon. You'd be surprised how much I want to align my biological clock with the sun. The moment I thought that, it naturally changed. Was it really so simple? Right now, it's 4 o'clock in the evening. It's time for dinner, but sadly I don't eat food. I could eat, but since I don't taste anything, it's pretty wasteful. With thoughts of food, I remembered the monsters I ate in the cave. Though I got my hands on new powers, I have yet to put them to use. Black serpent, heat detection, noxious breath. Centipede monster, paralysis breath. Big spider, sticky thread, steel thread. Vampire bat, vampirism, ultrasound waves. Carapace lizard, body armor. The black serpent's noxious breath, for example, I can't use at all. Honestly, when the carapace lizard appeared, I had used it. And as a result, if it weren't armored at all. The lizard had dissolved before my eyes, an extremely gruesome sight. Even remembering makes me want to puke, and that's why I avoid it. If, let's say, adventurers had chanced upon this snake, they'd probably be annihilated before they could even cast a spell. If I were hit by it, I haven't given it any thought, nor do I want to. Let's just say, thank goodness I shot first. To be hit by such a dangerous breath would be bad. But wait, that isn't something that I want to remember. Since seeing scrambled organs and the bloody remains of lizards is rather unpleasant, at least for me, I decided to completely forget about noxious breath. As for what would happen when used as a slime, the radius decreases by at least 1/2. If transformed, the breath spreads out for about 7 to 10 meters. Without mimicking, that is reduced to only 1 meter. Anyways, would you want to see your opponent melt before you? Therefore, there's this skill I've sealed away. On the other hand, heat detection is simply wonderful. Living things radiate heat. If combined with magic perception, no attack can go unnoticed. However, since humans and upper-class monsters may possess some special skills or magic, this is no reason to let my guard down. Next, about the centipede. Not going to mimic this one because of appearance. The paralysis breath functions the same as the serpent's one. The range is no different as well. As I expected, the range decreases to a 1 meter when used as a slime. But it just might be a good skill to use during ambush, or so I'd like to say. But if I had to fight an enemy that close, I'd be better off transforming or running. Anything else would result in inevitable defeat. The lizard, it was absorbed after being completely melted by my noxious breath, and as such, restoring the body had proved impossible. Anyways, having physical attack resistance kind of makes transforming pointless. So I tried to use body armor while a slime. My face hardened, as you'd find in some MMOs. I had become a metal slime. My previously light blue body had changed the color to a bluish silver metallic one. However, as I didn't try receiving damage, I don't know how good it actually is. I did gain a pretty colored option as a result though. Maybe I'll use it to surprise some enemy. That's the extent of these three species powers. The problem is the remaining two. They hold very interesting powers. You wonder what's amusing about them? First, the spider. Right, you all know about the hero who possesses spider powers, right? Hui, he shoots out thread from his wrists, leaping from building to building. That famous guy. Sticky thread is intended to trap your enemies and prevent them from moving. However, if I were to use it, could I reproduce his movements? Quickly, I put it to the test, aiming at a large tree. Hui, buran. Let me explain. Steel thread. Sticky thread? What's that? Don't know anything about a skill that hangs you up in a tree. And so about steel thread, it is intended to be used to defend against enemy attacks. Or when making a nest, it can be used to increase your advantage, build a maze. But what I tried was to make one thin thread and whip it at the tree. Whip it at the tree. Pion, buchin, it easily cut through. And there's also that, while I can see it pretty, you see, with my magic perception, it's actually very hard to see with the naked eye. With practice, it might become a dependable weapon, and practice with it later. And last up the bat. I expected the most from this skill's vampirism skill. By sucking the target's blood, I can temporarily gain its abilities. Not a skill to worry about. I mean, Predator is simply better. Would it be too presumptuous to consider vampirism its degraded version? And I don't really want to suck blood, so after learning all I could about it, I neglected vampirism. Rather, the skill that caught my interest was ultrasound waves. More than bewildering the enemy or causing him to faint, the skill can also pinpoint one's location. In my original world, butts get around using the same ability. But don't miss the main point. These are essentially vocal cords by itself. The skill's nothing special. But so my next step became creating the organ necessary for using these sound waves. Luckily, I didn't have to create it from mere imagination and could instead reproduce it based on the bat I had absorbed. With this, I might finally be able to speak. Tired and exhausted, I continued working through the night without an ounce of sleep. Not that I need any. 3 days and 3 nights of constant research, and behold the results. Take me to your leader. Success. As for how it sounds, have you ever spoken right in front of a fan? That distorted voice? Yeah, that's how it is. The rest can be fixed with minor adjustments. While calming my excitement, I carefully started adjustments. However, I can't seem to use ultrasound waves. I could have sworn it could shoot out with sound waves. I was going to call it Sonic Blaster or Sonic Buster. Can't I use those? Solution. From skill, ultrasound waves, skill, supreme vibrations can be derived. However, it cannot be currently acquired. Derive, huh? Probably need to have the skill evolve first. So I lack enough information to successfully derive the next skill. Shame, it would have been nice to have a skill that when fired would resonate with the target and destroy it. To be frank, if I don't get it myself, how can I expect to be able to use it? Seems like I'm a pretty greedy slime. Having many abilities is without question a good thing, but I see no need to hurry. I should just be satisfied with having restored my voice. And so while trying out various things, I continued down this path without any direction in mind. But my goal, I felt, was a good one. Somewhere beyond the forest, there is a city with some nice people with whom I could talk. In any case, these days have been pretty peaceful. In the caves, I was frequently beset by monsters, but since coming out here, I have yet to fight one. Just this one time, while I was practicing speaking, I was attacked by wolves. I seem to have threatened them with my voice. Alone, wait. I seem to have threatened them with my voice alone. Kiayin! And they ran away with a miserable whimper, larger than the largest breed of dogs with a body length of more than 2 meters, and the whole pack of them. What to say? Scared of some lowly slime, how pathetic. As for me, I had no desire to fight, although I could acquire a sense of smell as a result. That thought piqued my interest, so I kept an eye out, but no wolves were in sight. Actually, there was no monster within 100 meters of me. Somehow it's like they are fearing me. Why? Yep, definitely I can sense their fear. Having confirmed that, I felt a group of monsters approaching. Before my eyes, a group of 30 human-like monsters stumbled before me. Crude equipment covered in a thin layer of dirt, their expression lacked intelligence, but not completely barbaric. There were also a few who wore swords, spears, stone, axes, and bows. My gray matter brain cells quickly saw through to their true identity. The famous monsters that will attack adventurers. Yes, goblins. How stereotypical. And the ones they attack were weak monsters, so myself. But hey, to come with 30 people against a single slime, that's too much. However, somehow I feel no fear. My instincts refuse to fear them. Many of their swords had rusted, and their armor is thin. Some have stitched together, some rotting cloth. Compared to the lizard covered in thousands of hard scales, the spider with feet with like sharpened blades. I who have endured those battles cannot imagine suffering at the hands of these goblins. And in worst case scenario, I'll just mimic the serpent and take out a few. As I was thinking these things, one of them stepped forward, probably the leader opened his mouth. Guga, oh strong one, does you have any business up ahead? Oh, goblins can talk, can talk. I wonder if they can use any of magic perception. And did they just call me strong one? First, surround me armed with weapons, and then politely ask a question. What a bunch. I was amused. In any case, it doesn't look like they will attack right away. Will my words reach them? I guess I just have to try. And so I tried conversing with goblins. End of chapter 8. Chapter 9. Negotiating with the goblins. I glanced at the goblin. The goblins are, from what I can see, pretty desperate. They are on guard, weapon in a hand, and are politely calling out to me. Unfortunately, many seem to have run away already. But as expected of the leader, he looks me straight in the eye. Straight at me. All right. I feel some intelligence from this one. Might be able to talk properly. Will my voice reach? I tried attaching thought to the spoken words and sending them to goblins. Should I say, pleased to meet you? I am the slime Rimuru. The goblins began murmuring among themselves. Were they surprised that a slime spoke? Or so I thought, but among them, a few wearing plain clothing threw away their weapons. I don't really get it. Kuga, a strong one. We very understand your great power. We beg, lower your voice. Were the thoughts I attached too strong? So I guess telepathy is a no-go. They just be more afraid. My bad, I still can't regulate it very well. I guess I'll apologize. We unworthy. No need apologize to us. Seems like my words are reaching them. This is some good practice. Oh, and by the way, I'm speaking Japanese yet. Somehow, they are understanding. So what do you need from me? Don't have any particular reason to be going this way either. Since they have politely asked questions, I guess I'll politely answer. And maybe it was too much, but to make sure they continued fearing me, I said that rather forcefully. So it like that. On this path stand our village. We fought strong monsters, so came as precaution. A strong monster's presence, one that I have not detected. Gugaga, you joke. Even clothed in that form, we will not be fooled. It seems like they've completely got the wrong idea. Warning, the one who's mistaken is Rimuru. They are completely convinced that a powerful monster took the shape of a slime, as would be expected from goblins, who are famous for being low-ranking monsters. After talking to the goblins for a while, it seems like I'll be imposing on their village. That is, it seems like I'm staying over. Though they look shabby, it seems they have a big heart. And though I don't need to sleep, taking a break might be a good idea. With that thought, I decided to accept the offer and go to their village. We discussed many things. That the god they worshipped had recently disappeared. That, along with his disappearance, various monsters began moving. That the number of powerful adventurers had increased, and so on. And during the conversation, I finally became able to clearly hear their words, that I can probably attribute to having gotten used to listening with magic perception. It's probably a good thing I practiced with goblins before talking to people. Such was the conversation in the company of goblins. The village is where? Is what I wanted to say, considering how dirty it was. After all, I hadn't expected goblins to dig up their dens. Even so, they guided me to the best-looking building. The roof was made of rotting straw, and so was full of holes. The walls were just piled plywood. By my world's standards, even slum housing is preferable. That's how bad it was. We apologize for making you wait, honored guest. A goblin said while entering the structure. The goblin leader who had been showing me around until now then moved to attend to this one. Don't mind it. I hadn't been waiting for long. I tried to respond with the best business-like smile I could foster. Of course, the best smile possible. They say that a single smile can turn negotiation in one's favor. Gotta say, even I am susceptible to that skill, now that I know what we are negotiating about. We humbly apologize for the inability to provide better accommodations. I currently have the pleasure of serving as this village chief. Having said that, the goblins placed before me a tea-like drink, which I have to admit was rather surprising. I sipped the tea. To the onlookers, it probably looked like I toppled the cup over. It had no taste, which was obvious considering I had no taste buds. Whether that was a good thing or not, I don't know. After checking the ingredients, I confirmed that it was not poisonous. Moreover, I could feel their sincere attempt at hospitality from this cup. So for what reason have you gone out of your way to invite me here? I went straight to the point. Let's become friends with a fellow monster. It probably wasn't that kind of benevolent reason. Although the chief tensed and began to tremble, he seemed to have steeled himself and proceeded to ask. And this is what he said. If I may, you are aware of the recent increase in activity among the monsters, correct? That I heard on the way here. We have lived till now peacefully due to the protection from our god. However, he seems to have hidden himself about a month ago. Due to his disappearance, the nearby monsters have begun invading these lands. We ourselves did not welcome their incursion and responded with force, but our forces, would the god be Vildora? Fits time-wise. In any case, it seems the goblins want my help. I understand your request. However, being a slime, I doubt I can live up to your expectations. Ha ha ha. How modest. A slime could never radiate such strong demonic aura. We are not so presumptuous as to try guess at why you have taken that appearance. But we are aware you are a named monster. Are you not? Demonic aura, he said. What's that? I don't remember emitting that, so I tried to observe myself with magic perception. There was some kind of ominous aura drifting about me. Oh, I should have noticed it when mimicking monsters or trying out body armor. How embarrassing. This feels just like walking down Main Street with your fly wide open. The cave's high magical energy concentration probably confused my senses, but this is no good, totally out of the question. Now I finally understand the monster's fear of me. What monster would want to make an enemy of this dangerous-looking guy? No, Egypt's getting fooled by appearance here, kind of thing. No, Egypt's getting fooled by appearance here, kind of thing. Well, as expected of the chief, though, understands? It was obvious, Your Grace. Your wondrous persona cannot be hidden. I see I was found out. Though seems to be a promising bunch. I'm getting carried away, aren't I? Let's play along with their misconceptions and manipulate them a bit. At the same time, let's try to erase that luminous aura, demonic aura. As if absorbing the aura, I tried to direct the outer and magical energy inside. Oh, you have been testing us. Let us thank you. There were many who feared your great aura. Looks like the aura successfully dissipated. From what I can see, I now look just like a normal slime, but had I been wandering around as a normal slime, I probably would have been annoyed with all the fights by now. So isn't this aura a good thing? It is so, having beheld my aura and yet speak before me, wonderfully done. TL's note, spake is an archaic traditional form of spoke. Just imagine Rimuru speaking like Valdora. Ah, okay. What's wonderful about it? Am I looking for trouble? Well, I'll bear with it for now, like an actor. Hey, your kindness is wasted on us. If you will, we shall not inquire regarding your true visage, lest your anger, lest you anger. We wish for you to hearken to our request. Could we hope for such a favor? Tell note, hearken is archaic for listen. Ah, imagine the goblins being groveling level polite. Well, probably. Don't avoid the subject. Let me hear it while maintaining my haughty attitude. I pressed the chief for details. The story goes as this. Coming from the eastern lands, new monsters threaten the balance of this region. Further, it seems that there are a few goblin villages around here. This village being but one of them, but they have had many battles with the newcomers and lost many good warriors. But the real problem was the named warrior. He served as the guardian of this village, and when he was lost, the village found itself in a perilous situation. Other goblin communities have abandoned it, while the newcomers ravaged that village while come up with a plan. So the other villagers thought, and no matter how much the goblin chief and leader begged them, they were coldly rebuked. Such is the story of the goblins conveyed. I see how many live in this village. Among those, how many can fight? Yes, there are 100 denizens. If we include females, 60 are able to fight. Sounds rather unreliable. However, to even comprehend basic mathematics, the goblins are rather intelligent. What about the opponent? How many and of what race? Ah yes, from the wolf species, the Fang wolf family. At the moment, even 10 of us could hardly match one of them, and there are 100 of them. Huh? Who set this to game to impossible difficulty? I stared the chief in the eyes. No, he is not lying. His eyes are earnest. There are few dubious points, but I can probably believe his words for the most part. About those goblin warriors, they knew they couldn't win and still threw their lives away pointlessly. No, this intel is the product of the lives they gave away. His next words made me regret my question. Named Goblin was the chief's son, and Goblin leader's older brother. Having heard the situation, I stopped to think. Without a word, the chief awaits my decision. Did I just see a tear in his eyes? Probably just imagined it. Tears don't suit monsters. Arrogance does. That's the proper appearance of the feared monsters. Chief, there is but one thing I wish to confirm. If I save this village, what be my reward? What will they what will they do for me? Not that I wouldn't do this without a reward, but we're talking about 100 enemies as strong as 10 goblins each. This will be no walk in the park. If I mimic the Black Serpent, I can probably manage, but it's not a deal I can just easily accept. We offer our loyalty. Please protect us. If you do, we shall forever serve you. Honestly, I can do without their loyalty, but having endured 90 days of solitude, I truly enjoyed talking with the goblins. Had I been human, I might have been repulsed by their filthiness, but I am now a monster. I fear no disease. Moreover, the chief's eyes am their only hope, they say. Just like in the past world, I'm weak to dependent types. While grumbling to myself, listening to complaints from my kohai, and fulfilling the requests of customers and senpai. TL note, kohai is a member of an organization who started there after the person in question. Senpai is the person who was there before. Very well, I shall accept that request. I accepted with an exaggerated bow, and so I became the master of goblins and their guardian. End of chapter 9. Chapter 10. The Battle of the Goblin Village. The Fang Wolf Family. The rulers of the Eastern Plains, the cause of many headaches among the traders from Eastern Empire and other countries bordering the Jura Forest. Each is a C-rank monster and could easily devour a negligent adventurer. However, they were mostly feared as a pack. When gathered, they move like a single entity capable of organized attack, and as a pack, they are often evaluated as a B rank. The Eastern Plains are located adjacent to Empire's wheat fields. As it is the Empire's primary food source, it boasts of impenetrable defense. Thus, although the Fang Wolves are rather cunning and possess excellent abilities, breaking through the defense would be exceedingly difficult. Furthermore, even if they did break through, they would only earn the Emperor's wrath and would probably be haunted into extinction. The pack leader understood that much. The many decades spent skirmishing learning from the ever-expanding empire instilled that ominous premonition in them. As long as they preyed only upon small-time merchants, the emperor wouldn't get serious. However, if they even once decided to intrude upon the wheat fields, The Emperor will bear its fangs. As a result, he had prevented many mishaps from beginning through incidents. Those were the thoughts that filled the pack leader's head. However, will this not stop his species' evolution? So his instincts screamed. Currently, the pack did not lack provision. If people were attacked and eaten, they were more of a snack. That's because humans aren't born with a lot of inherent magical energy. For the Fang Wolves, a meal was nothing more than absorbing magical energy. Fight strong monsters or slaughter many humans and evolve into a calamity-class monster. But as things stand, neither method seemed very plausible. The Empire was simply far too strong. However, should they simply continue attacking merchants, their goal will be but a dream within a dream. But they have heard of a paradise for powerful monsters, a forest set on blessed lands far in the south. However, to reach those lands, they'd have to traverse the Jura forest, the inhabitants of which aren't anything special. The many times they hunted those of them that ventured into the plains proved this point. In that case, why have they not invaded the forest yet? Storm Dragon Vildora. The existence of that dragon is the reason. Even while he was sealed away, the luminous energy he emitted was enough to frighten them into submission. They were convinced that the forest's inhabitants received Vildora's protection, and that is why they can live inside that fiendish aura. Had they believed otherwise, they would surely go mad. Until now, they lived with these shameful thoughts and held back the urge to invade. Yes, until now. The pack leader looked into the forest with his blood-red sharp eyes that despite the evil dragon's presence had vanished. Now they could freely ravage through the forest and become its supreme rulers. Oh, the very thought whet his appetite. And so he hauled the order to advance. But having become the guardian, I contemplated the next step. Personally, even with that title, I think their treatment of me is too grandiose. In any case, I gathered and studied the goblins' fighters. They are practically falling apart. Doesn't seem like I can depend on them during combat. Also, the remaining goblins, kids, and elderly came to observe our preparation. No reinforcement from other tribes either. As things stand, it's a small miracle that the chief hasn't lost his mind yet, because even if they run away, they just die from hunger or thirst. And the goblins whom I gathered are staring at me as if at a deity. What a heavy burden I took up. Feels especially so since I just wanted to lead a carefree life away from responsibilities. Do you all understand the situation? Not the kind of atmosphere to make a joke, and I don't have any good words of encouragement, so I went straight to the point. Yes, this shall become the fight to decide whether we live or die. We have already said our prayers. The goblin leader was the first to reply. The rest nodded in approval, and while there are some with trembling knees, that's only to be expected. Heart might be willing, but the flesh is weak, something like that. Don't get so worked up. Relax. Relax. Even those eager may face defeat. Just focus on doing your best. Tried saying something cool. I at least felt better, so maybe it will have some effect. In any case, should we begin, failure will most likely result in the goblins' certain demise. But still, I chose to be going my way about this. The Else Note reference to a 1944 film. Ahead with arrogance. That's my choice. All right, put your spirit into it. That is the first order I gave them. And from then on, many more orders will follow. Those words announced that the moment has come. And the sun had set. The Fang Wolf's pack leader awoke. The night was a full moon, the perfect witness to their battle. He slowly awoke his flesh and gazed over his dominion. The pack, seeing their leader like that, bated their breath. How tensely they await, so thought the leader. Tonight they will crush that goblin village and so take the first step into the Jura forest. Afterwards, hunt the nearby monsters as to prove themselves as the forest's rulers. And someday, soon, continue southward in search of greater power. We have the power to accomplish this, they thought. Our claws rip through the flesh of any beast, and their fangs piece any armor. Ooh. The pack leader howled. The time to trample their foes had come. However, there was one thing that bothered him. A few days ago, a brother he had sent on a reconnaissance had brought back bewildering information. A small monster releasing monstrous energy. That monster's demonic aura far surpassed that of the leader. There could be no such thing, so concluded the leader. He had not perceived such a threat, and all the monsters he met were weak. There had been nothing to call resistance as of yet. Only that one time, 10 or so goblins had murdered a few of their brethren, but never again. Chances are the scout was far too excited to see rationally, thinking that the boss only looked ahead, and in front of him lay the village. It was just where the scouts reported. Using the wounded goblin, they had marked this village, so now they can hardly offer proper resistance. The leader was a cunning wolf. He wouldn't let his guard down. However, the village was not as expected. As if it belonged to humans, it was fenced. They had dismantled every house and erected a wall, and in the middle of the entrance ahead stood a single slime. How ingenious. So laughed the leader. They left an opening to defend against our numbers, were his thoughts. After all, they were slow-witted trash of a monster. That wall will quickly topple before our claw and fang. We shall show them our might. With these thoughts, he ordered the attack, and as one, 10 fang wolves assaulted the walls. They truly were a single being. That was their true worth, their unity in combat. Movement made possible through telepathic communication, a form of communication many times faster than words. The first attack should have destroyed the walls. Surely the leader imagined. The goblins will soon realize the futility of their plan and panic. Instead, it was the leader who let out a voice of surprise. The attack squad was repelled, and there was something rolling on the ground while splashing blood among them too. What had happened? Without a hint of panic, he sought answers. The slime had not moved. Did he do something? And then the closest of his subordinates, it's the one It's the one from that day, the one that possessed an aura stronger than our lord. So he reported. How foolish, he thought while looking at the slime. They would sometimes be born in the plains. You'd exaggerate if you called them monsters, a pitiful existence, to be surpassed myself in demonic aura. Impossible. But then, all right, stop right there. If you withdraw now, I will not pursue. Depart at once, is what the slime declared. The Fangwolf's leader was a crafty and cunning monster. Having lived many years and experienced many things, he'd never neglected making a plan. He was cool-headed and possessed courage, tested through many battles. His many experiences and the information he collected all rejected the presence of a being stronger than him among the goblins. But the leader had at that one moment made a fatal mistake, and that mistake has decided their fate. Uru, Garu, miserable existence, I'll pulverize you, he ordered attack. Wow, that was a surprise. Didn't think they'd attack so suddenly. I thought that we'd start with a conversation. Now all my lines went to waste. All the practice gone to waste. I even practiced during break. The first order I gave was to be guided to the wounded. Well, even if I add 10 or so more to the 60, the odds won't change all that much. However, being idolized and all kind of makes me and all kind of makes me however, being idolized and all kind of makes me want to do all I can. They were placed in a rather large but filthy looking building. So about the wounded, they seem to have received some first aid but will surely die as things stand. What deep wounds, ripped open by claw and fang, and their wounds had festered, have to go all out here. And so I observed the closest one, and having dressed the wounds, spit him out. The village chief seemed to have been trying to say something stutteringly actually for a while, but I ignored him. And going through every patient, I repeated the process. After many patients, I finally looked back at my handiwork. For some reason, the goblins were all prostrating themselves before me. What the hell are they doing? In any case, it seems they thought I had healed them with some inherent restorative power. Since that reaction was unpleasant, for the remaining wounded, I spit the medicine out and treated them right there. And so some time was spent on healing. Having finished medical treatment, I relayed next orders. The next thing to do would be to build a wall. Cutting down trees to build it would also be good, but we may not have enough time. Have to do with what we have. So without a hint of hesitation, we destroyed houses and recycled them into walls, one that would circle around the entire village. And while we were building, I sent out the brightest goblins, armed with bows to scout the enemy or wolves, so they have an excellent sense of smell. So I made sure to tell the scouts to avoid reckless action. Their resolve is impressive, even at the cost of their life. That's the kind of aura they emit. Don't they love to exaggerate? The wall was finished in the evening, the day after I arrived. I put on some finishing touches. Right, I increased its durability with my spider's thread. And by the way, I didn't forget to place a trap using steel thread either. Wouldn't it be great if they blindly attack the walls? They'd be cut to pieces. After this fight, I definitely can't forget to go around collecting components. And at the front, we left an opening. Here, I'll place some sticky thread, and that will be it for preparations. Now, all I can do is wait for the scouts. About that time, the goblins I treated started waking up. Having them touch my body, I confirmed their condition. Seems like the restorative pills are pretty serious stuff. I thought they'd need to be treated many times, but it seems to have been super effective. What a pleasant surprise. Then we had gathered the remaining wood at the center of the village and started a fire, kind of like a campfire, except without the merry faces. We have to stay on guard the whole night. As I don't need sleep, I naturally offered to stay on watch, but there could be no such thing. You can hardly allow Rimuru-sama to further exert yourself. As he said, we shall stay watch. Please rest, Rimuru-sama. That's right, as they said, came all the responses. And I appreciate the sentiment. It's just these guys are probably so much more tired than I am. Nothing I can do, I guess. So we decided to keep a lookout on rotation. In the dead of the night, the scouts had come back. The wolves had begun to move, so they reported. They had some wounds, but all returned alive. I used to think they were filthy and ugly monsters, but I grew sympathetic to them over these 2 days. In prayers, each and every one of them wished for these battles to end. Those were my thoughts as I set up the sticky thread and stood at the gate. The battle began with the Fang Wolves' attack. I was worried if the gate would hold, but the wolves cannot mount an attack that would penetrate them. Seems like the traps were effective as well. At least that went well. For now, all right, stop right there. If you withdraw now, I will not pursue the part at once. Is what I called out, and I was completely ignored. The wolves moved at once and began assaulting the gate from all directions. While it can't be helped, hopefully things will proceed according to the plan. Having predicted this outcome, I left small openings in the fence. An arrow slit. Even the clumsy goblins are capable of shooting through that hole. Many wolves were hit by arrows and fell whimpering. There were also wolves that tried to dig through those openings, but Zazu! Every time they'd be hit from both sides by stone axes and perish. Though the goblins hadn't even practiced for 2 hours, they were desperate to understand my directions and put them to use. And the result is the current situation. Without a question, the Fang Wolves are strong. As a single beast, they are capable of taking on many goblins at once. As a pack, they might be truly formidable. But that's the key. Just hit them a few times. One at a time. Divide and conquer. In short, brains will always triumph over brawn. The strongest animals in the world are those blessed with a supreme intelligence, humans. How unlucky. While thinking these things, I felt the cold stare of the pack leader. He's but an animal and thinks he can defeat me. How conceited. The pack leader was bewildered by this sudden turn of events. His subordinates are beginning to panic. This could be bad. Fang Wolves are as strong as they are united. Leader's distrust of his subordinates has always led to a single devastating result. He had understood that much, and so this was where he had committed the gravest mistake. He was angry that the wall wouldn't come down, but he was also afraid that his comrade's anger was directed at him. The leader needs to show his power, or he's the strongest one in the pack. He should be able to do this himself, they may think. And at that moment it was settled. No one took their eyes off the leader's movement. However, to the goblins it appeared as if he had disappeared. For me, he moved as if in slow motion. It all went according to plan. I've thought up quite a few scenarios, and the battle had played out according to one of those. As you'd expect from beasts, they'd never triumph over a human. The leader was caught in sticky thread. I lay at the entrance. With his strength, perhaps, he could cut through it. I don't have a way to verify that point, not that it even matters. The goal of the sticky thread was to hold the leader down, if for but a moment. Without a pause in movement, the water blade may miss, and it would look uncool. It would look uncool. To say nothing of the worst case scenario. To say nothing of the worst case scenario, hitting a friendly during combat. Well, those kinds of accidents do happen on the battlefield. I did have a trap prepared to avoid that, but seems like setting it up was a waste of effort. This guy never came up with a better plan than destroying the walls. I did consider playing some steel thread traps at the entrance as well, but considering all the situations where they'd avoid them, I decided against it. Right now, I have to play the part of an overwhelmingly powerful monster. It's for that reason that I set the traps, and without any hesitation, I decapitated the leader wolf. That's how easily he died. Hear me, fang wolves. Your leader has been felled by me. I give you a choice, servitude or death. So how will they respond? Having just arranged the leader's funeral, I'd rather not extend that list to a bunch of mad wolves looking for a place to die. End of chapter 10.